From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
Good Monday morning. It's 5:30. Welcome to Montana This Morning. I'm Victoria Hill. Happy to see you starting your day with us today.
And I'm Ed McIntosh. A very mild start in the eastern plains, and the temperatures are going to stay warmer than average, just as we saw over the weekend. This morning, one of the warmer starts for sure. Definitely at 63 degrees and a northwest wind of 15 miles per hour. A little bit of a breeze, and we're going to expect that off and on over the course of the next few days. If you're curious, 85 was the high yesterday, running over 20 degrees warmer than average and only 5 degrees shy of the record for the date. The wind gusts, though, at times picked up, and we hit a gust of 35 at the airport. No precipitation so far this month, and that's not going to happen for a while. In fact, in Billings, we're now at 28 days since we've seen any measurable precipitation. We'll look at temperatures this morning in the 30s, 40s, 50s across the eastern plains to even those low 60s in Billings and Sheridan and Livingston, or rather Lewistown right now at 61, 59 in Livingston, 48 for you in Cody, and 53 in Miles City to get started. Showers in northeastern Montana won't add up to a lot, but it's kind of nice to get a little bit of moisture on the ground where things have been so dry for an extended period. A few pockets of a little heavier rain. Meantime, in southern Montana and northern Wyoming, 50s and 60s to get started for a very mild beginning to the day as the temperatures warm up later in the afternoon. Mid-70s on the way, 10 degrees warmer than average, and we'll continue to watch warm temperatures this week. We'll talk more about that coming up.
This is friendly weather. I think that's the word I'm going to use to describe this. Friendly.
I like
that.
It's
not too hot, and it's not extremely cold, and it's quite pleasant when you walk outside these days.
That's for sure.
Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you for the update on that, Ed. I will get on to the news of the day. Thanks.
Thanks.
Our top story this morning, one man is dead as police investigate a shooting in Central Billings that all started as a fight between neighbors over pet dogs. The victim was shot in the head just before 8 o'clock last night on the 1300 block of Custer Avenue. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Police say an argument over the dogs escalated when the victim left the suspect's home and came back again. Officers believe there may have been a struggle because the suspect had scratches on his head. He is in custody and cooperating with the investigation. The names of the two men involved and any possible charges have not been released. Officers also found the victim was armed with a gun as well. In national news, President Trump could be discharged from the hospital as soon as today. That's according to the White House physician who said the president's condition continues to improve. Yesterday, the president left his hospital room and took an unannounced drive past supporters on the street. He also suggested in a Twitter video that he's learned a lot about COVID-19. Hours earlier, the president's medical team reported his blood oxygen level dropped to concerning levels twice in recent days. Democrat nominee Joe Biden tested negative for the virus yesterday. He'll be in Florida doing more in-person campaigning today. Following the president's diagnosis, the Biden campaign says they're making some changes. The former vice president will be tested more regularly, and the campaign will release results each time. His running mate, Kamala Harris, will join him in Florida today. On Wednesday, she will debate Vice President Mike Pence in Utah. They will be separated by 12 feet on the stage. There's an effort to contact anyone who may have come into contact with the coronavirus at several White House events since last weekend. Attorney General Bill Barr is now quarantined, reversing on his earlier plans not to. He was at the busy ceremony last Saturday for Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett and had close contact with Kellyanne Conway, who's now positive. According to the Department of Justice, Barr has tested negative 4 times since then. The White House is also working with New Jersey state health leaders to contact more than 200 people who may have been exposed at one of President Trump's fundraisers. The U.S. Supreme Court starts a new term today. Some significant cases are pending, but as CNN's John Lawrence reports, the big question seems to be what lies ahead following the death of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg.
A new dawn rising on the U.S. Supreme Court, and it begins with a vacant seat.
I've been a leader on getting conservative judges on the Supreme Court, and the best is yet to come.
Senate Republicans are trying to quickly confirm Supreme Court nominee Amy Coney Barrett as successor for Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. In an email obtained by CNN, Majority Leader Mitch McConnell told his Republican colleagues he needs all of them back on October 19th to ensure a quorum. However, once again, COVID-19 is a factor.
think about the health risks involved here. I mean, it's really, Dianne Feinstein, the ranking Democrat, is 87 years old. You know, Chuck Grassley, who was on the Judiciary Committee, is also in his mid-80s.
Several senators, including Republicans Tom Tillis, Ron Johnson, and Mike Lee, have recently tested positive for the virus. Democrats are calling on McConnell to put the process on hold.
Even though he has said it's not safe for the Senate to meet in session, but it's okay to have the hearings.
Although some Republicans say things can move forward,
I've got a job to do and I'm pressing on.
Some analysts say work on the Hill presents risks.
There is COVID swirling through the United States Senate, and they are expecting these senators to sit right next to each other hour after hour, day after day.
I'm John Lawrence reporting.
The Affordable Care Act and religious liberty are among the issues the Supreme Court is scheduled to take up this term while working remotely. And now to the latest COVID-19 stats here in Montana. Yellowstone County health officials announced a man in his 70s has passed away. He becomes the 69th resident to die while infected with the virus here. Overall, COVID-19 is being blamed for 191 Montana deaths. Active cases are nearing the 4,800 mark. Since March, almost 15,000 Montanans have tested positive for the coronavirus. There were multiple days last week that saw health officials reporting record highs in new case numbers. Dr. Nancy Snyderman is a Montana physician and former network medical correspondent. She says she's concerned the state's hospitals will soon feel the strain of a growing number of patients. Dr. Snyderman also believes Montanans need to get their flu shot, saying COVID-19 and the flu are not a good mix.
When those two crash together, we may see more than the 30, 40, or 50,000 people who die annually just from the flu collide with what may be hundreds of thousands of people getting terminally ill with coronavirus.
Snyderman says even after the record-breaking week, she's confident Montanans will begin to flatten the curve. A new art exhibit in downtown Billings is putting a spotlight on the missing murdered Indigenous women's movement. Red dresses will hang around Sky Point for the next 2 weeks. It's the work of Canadian artist Jamie Black, who was recruited by the Montana Native Women's Coalition and the Zonta Club. Black says the empty dresses represent Native American women who are no longer with us.
The point of the exhibit is to evoke thought about the absence that's evoked by seeing the dresses empty and out in open space. So the idea is that there should be women and girls filling these dresses, and they are unable to do so because they are no longer with us.
The groups behind the art exhibit are inviting everyone to a virtual gathering next Saturday in lieu of a MMIW march that was pushed online due to the pandemic. To learn how to sign up, you can visit billingszonta.org. Now in other news, even in the best times, small businesses face unique challenges. Reporter Ashley Sampson found during the pandemic, the hardships have only been magnified.
In the heart of Sugar House, Utah.
Rolling pies.
There's a place that uses perhaps more sugar than anywhere.
Eclairs, make a lot of eclairs.
I turned 92 on the 6th of August. My brother Bob,
I'm 87.
For almost 6 decades, Bob and Al have been showing up to work at Carol's Pastry Shop.
I get up every morning at 5:30 and get down here about 6, quarter after 6.
We have a lousy or terrible retirement plan in this bakery.
The co-owners mix together like peanut butter and jelly.
We get along good together. We never have an argument and brotherly love.
They say baking is in their blood.
My dad came over to this country in 1924, and this was the bakery.
The two were pulled apart when Uncle Sam came calling.
1950, I got drafted for the Korean War as it just started. So I pulled Bob out of high school. He took over, and when I came home, then he left for 2 years. We were nice-looking soldiers, weren't we?
They've seen their fair share of change.
And there isn't any little bakeries open up anymore.
Since March, it's not big box stores making business tough. It's a new, bitter ingredient.
Well, just after that virus hit.
Yeah. When we stayed open, we really haven't We never closed, but it was slow.
Owning a small business is tough, but COVID-19 is making it even harder.
We depend on all that business, just what comes in the door. The big orders, we don't have many more.
They hope to keep making eclairs and fresh donuts for as many years as they can.
That's what keeps you going, is to have something to do.
Now, the next generation is pitching in.
Granddad and great uncle, I think that's how that works. It's really nice being with Grandpa.
Bob and Al want to keep Carol's Pastry Shop in the family.
All our customers say, you can't quit. We don't know what we'd do. You can't quit. You can't close this bakery up.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, it's hard to tell what's going to happen even day by day now.
For now, the brothers plan on showing up every day.
COVID's not going to stop these guys.
Like my father says, you put in good ingredients and good stuff in the bakery in it, you'll always get a good product out of it. We've always used the best there is.
In Sugar House, I'm Ashley Sampson reporting.
And before we take a break, we wanted to let you know tonight's 5:30 news will be airing at 4 o'clock this afternoon. Because of a positive COVID-19 test, Sunday's Chiefs-Patriots game was moved to tonight. That game kicks off at 5 o'clock tonight on Q2. The CBS Evening News moves to 4:30, and Big Brother will air right after the football game. If you can't catch the news today at 4, remember you can watch our content anytime on the Q2 streaming app. Thank you so much for starting your Monday with us here on Montana This Morning.